Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops.
Smart right there.
Boxing Ego, I'm with trainer Ben Batista.
What's happening?
And my man Tez Bay, brother
up,
Mickey
Ego?
Bay. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Good. So, what's up? What's been new with you?
Oh man, just handling a lot of business, man. As you can see, I got my guys here, Ben here doing real estate. The big real estate tycoon, Kev, in the house. So we just putting a lot of real estate deals together, handling a lot of business. That's it. You know, I stepped away from boxing just to handle business.
Now, why is that important for, as a fighter, to have other investments outside of the ring?
Man, it's so important, but most fighters don't. But you don't have nobody to learn from. Like a promoter not gonna tell you to invest your money. Most managers won't. So it's something you're on your own in boxing. So you got to learn on your own.
And you've seen a lot. Your brother was with Top Rank, Mayweather Promotions, so you've been around the game for quite some time.
Yeah. So I know I seen it all in boxing. You know, I've been around everybody to know how the business is, and I know how it works. So, you know, it's every man for themselves in boxing.
Oh, that's how the game is?
Yo, that's exactly how it is. It's every man for himself. You know, you'd be lucky to get somebody that's, if you got more of a personal manager that might be more like family, friend, that might try to help you with investments and help you outside of boxing. But as far as what guys that's in the sport, they not, you know, they only care about boxing. As long as you can win fights, that's all that matters.
What do you think, Ben? You've been around the scene?
Well, it's like you said, you know, a lot of them are pretty much on their own. If they don't learn life skills from, you know, outside the boxing ring and learn financial literacy in terms of investing their money and whatnot and preparing themselves for outside their boxing career, then it's going to be tough. You know, they're going to be faced with a lot of tough challenges.
That's one of the guys I got to credit for me doing what I'm doing now, because when he first came to Vegas, he was always pushing me. He was my mentor. Like, man, Tez, you got to do this. He opened my mind up to doing so many other things. Like, cause he knew he'd been around a lot of fighters, a lot of old school fighters. So he was always telling me, like, man, you got to broaden your horizon, do some real estate, do this, do that, do different investments, put your money here, put it there.
Now, one thing you just said is a lot of fighters aren't doing that. No. Why do you think that's the case? You've been around a lot of fighters.
Just not having nobody around, because a promoter not gonna tell you, because it's not against their best interest. It's against their best interest to tell you to invest your money and make sure you financially stable, because you know it works best for them if your money is gone.
If you're relying all the way on boxing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, a promoter's not gonna tell you that. Most managers won't, unless it's more of a close friend, family friend, like a mentor like Ben.
Definitely. Now, we out here in Cleveland, Ohio. You from the Midwest, you from Cleveland. And what's it like, just the boxing scene? The Midwest has a lot of great fighters. So
yeah.
What's it like having like the guys from the Midwest, the Floyd Mayweathers, you, your brother, Adrian Broner, Aaron Pryor, all these guys from just Ohio and the Midwest?
It's some great fighters that come from Ohio, or the Midwest in general, but most fighters had to leave. As you can see, Floyd ended up in Vegas. Most fighters had to venture off from the Midwest, because the Midwest got some of the poorest cities in the country, so most fighters can't stay in these cities. It's not really a good pro scene, and it's too much going on. You can get in too much trouble, so almost all the fighters, the great fighters from the Midwest, venture off to the West Coast, where it's just a better environment.
Yeah, when's the last time y'all had a fight out here, like a big fight card in Cleveland? You ever had one?
It's been years. Like, I think the last World Championship fight was probably Lehman Brewster. Me and my brother fought here.
Lehman Brewster?
Yeah, it was back when Don King brought the fight.
I think he had something wrong with his eye.
Me and my brother fought here. Our pro debut, Roy Jones brought it here. So no, it's rarely like big fights here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Who's gonna win this series in the playoffs?
Oh man, I'm hoping the Cavs win, but you know I'm a betting man, so It's up in the air.
They just came up short.
Well, one thing you got to mention is that Cleveland produced, I don't know if the most Olympians in the last few decades. They had Raynell Williams come out here, his brother Mickey Bay, Terrell Gaucher,
Rashi
Warren.
Ain't he from Cleveland?
Who?
Willie Nelson.
Yeah, he's from Cleveland.
Willie Nelson.
He made the Olympic trials.
The one we just seen at Ryan Martin.
Yeah,
we
Ryan Martin.
The
he's from Cleveland. But I mean, in terms of like top amateurs, I mean, Ohio always produced one of the best amateur programs for youth and amateur boxers as well.
Yeah, that was the reason I started a non-profit organization, which he was one of the ones that told me to get something like that going, but just to pull together more resources for the young kids in Cleveland to, to be able to survive and be able to thrive more in sports, business, whatever it is, education.
Did you have distractions when you were coming up?
Yeah,
like what? Like stuff that would pull you away
from?
Yeah,
always in the streets. My brother went to jail. Just all kind of things happen. Yeah, he ended up going to jail during.
I'm learning. I didn't know that.
He ended up going to jail right before a real important tournament. It was they brought a tournament here
on TV,
international dual meet, which was Cleveland. It was the U.S. versus Ireland.
Wow.
And they ended up letting him out of jail early, but he ended up going to jail. He was an accomplice or he was affiliated with the wrong people that ended up getting caught up in a robbery. But he ended up getting off of that early and got out and was able to fight right here in Cleveland.
On TV.
On TV, national TV.
And he had guys like Don King, Emmanuel Stewart.
Don King from here
Emmanuel Stewart sponsored.
And Al Heyman.
Al Heyman is from here, Don King.
God damn.
That's one thing that I love Al Heyman. Our first opportunity, one of the first guys me and my brother had the opportunity to sign with was Al Heyman, but we wasn't familiar with him. We made some mistakes early on. We didn't sign with him. But, I just wish guys like that gave more back to the city of Cleveland, like even if it's just the boxing community, just gave more back because they know how it is. They came from here, but they don't really give back to the city like I wish they would.
The Cleveland knows the Bay brothers. Like I was saying, going back to Emmanuel Stewart and Don King, when Mick went to jail, he was supposed to fight right on TV. Right, it was at a big venue out here. Didn't nobody know he was in jail? Not USA Boxing and USA Boxing. USA Boxing promoted the event, and it was like a couple of days before the fight. They found out that he was in jail.
Oh, wow.
And so that's when he went to court. You had Don King, you had Emmanuel Stewart, all of them went to court and lobbied and advocated for Mick to get out so he could fight. And he got out, and he ended up knocking that dude from Ireland out. And that was just right before the Olympic trials, man.
Wow. See,
we had a crunk gym right here in Cleveland. Emmanuel Stewart
You had
sponsored.
a crunk gym?
We had a crunk gym here.
I didn't know
that. A lot
that.
of people don't know that.
I know the Detroit
Emmanuel
one,
sponsored us the crunk gym. It was right on St. Clair. We had a crunk gym.
See,
right
this is
here
why I
in
like fucking with y'all, because I always learn new stuff.
And not too far from you, Don King had his boxing camp out here.
He still got it, but there's nobody. Yeah. Don on the tail end of his. He might have one or two fighters, but yeah, he still got his camp right outside of Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of history, man. A lot of people don't know about. Then you got so many great fighters that didn't. The streets pull so many fighters away.
Yeah, I heard people would tell me, people from like this area specifically, Ohio, like, oh, Lamar something. And I'm like, who is that?
You remember Ricardo Williams?
Yeah,
he one of the greatest fighters to ever come out of the U.S.
Where is he at?
Just the streets, man. He got caught up in the drug case. He went to jail, and he
didn't turn pro.
He turned pro, but he was never the same after he did the jail time.
Oh.
He turned pro. He had a big deal with HBO and everything, but he just wasn't the same after he went to jail and everything. But he was one of the greatest fighters to come out of Ohio ever. Yeah.
Man, he signed for meal tickets after he won a silver medal in the Olympics.
Yeah, he did.
He probably had like the biggest contract. Let me see, at that time, right, coming out the Olympics. I think ever since then, people won't get that kind of money.
Why is it so hard from a fighter's perspective and a trainer perspective? Why is it so hard to leave the streets alone? Like, I understand you came from, you didn't have money, and then now you start throwing you a bag.
Yeah, it just pull on guys, man. It's like it's a lifestyle from growing up.
Okay.
You grow up in the streets, you want the fast money, things like that. It's just you getting pulled in. It's,
all the
in
vices.
general, it's just the culture, like, you know, in general.
It's the fascination, it's all the, you know, lurid attraction, but
Exactly.
it's also a place where all your friends and, you know, hang out at, you know, and it's, you know, it's also a place where you get your hustle on. So,
all right, Ben, I'm gonna ask you. You from San Francisco?
Right.
We know San Francisco got some hoods. You go to the nice parts when you go on vacation, but you also don't mind staying away from the hood. Like, what is it where you've been able to separate, like, to stay close to where you came from, but also, like, not keep people in your circle or whatever the situation is that don't need to be there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, unnecessary people that maybe would hold you down and stuff.
well, you know, I've been fortunate because I had mentors in my life that exposed me to the positive side of life. You know, they showed me, you know, that, you know, I could live better than how I was living. And without these mentors, you know, I probably wouldn't have been exposed to that life. But I've just been blessed to have mentors that help me, you know, see that life is just bigger than just that block. And so that's what I try to do. I try to give back to guys like Tez and show them that it is a better way than just being out on the streets. But San Francisco is, you know, our situation now, fast forward 2018, is like people moved out the city, but now people trying to come back to the hood because that's where the money's at. The money's in San Francisco. You know, San Francisco. Oh, okay. Well, we can't record.